things that might not seem at first to be art, right? That is, that don't fit people's regular criteria of what art is and how one negotiates that, right? If art is having a seance over experimental music at Merrill House, then, what is a painting? What is a sculpture, right? It requires you to kind of shift your categories. The Machine Project is part of a larger genre, which is sometimes called social practice, in which artists use the relationships between people or relationships within communities as a kind of material, not just to setting, but actually how people interact with each other and what that says about who we are.
I ended up at Colgate because I was invited by the art department to bring a whole group of artists here and to think about doing projects that interacted with the college and interacted with the town of Hamilton.
We sort of created this scenario, this situation, and the infrastructure within which Machine Project and their artists could explore. And I think the community was extraordinarily generous as well. I think people embraced the idea, they were curious. We had a very, you could feel people would start asking you around town, what's this Machine Project, what's going on?
One thread they all share is I picked people who I thought would enjoy being somewhere really different. I picked people who I felt like could connect to a lot of different kinds of audiences. I was interested in people who were artists whose work was not located purely in a studio practice, who really thought of communities as sites for making work.
I do think he's always closely tuned into what a particular community might need and what it might want. And I also think that if we look back at the range of artists and events that we had, I think there really was something for everyone, right? You're not required to like it all, right? It's a little bit like a sort of a concert hall in a particular season. But it was really interesting to see how the community and which members of the community really sort of responded and how they did to the individual projects.
It became a kind of communal experience with some intensity that none of us anticipated until we all got in that room and with a number of artists were taken through a set of experiences that weren't, it was all kind of in the moment. Students also gathered steam in a certain sense. They came, I think they came with a little skepticism, like, I'm not sure this is, I'm not sure what this is about. I'm not sure I feel comfortable. I know how I feel. I know where I like my parameters, and I'm not sure I feel quite safe or comfortable in this space. And they persisted in coming.
And you're just going to name things, people's T-shirts and whatnot.
They came because they really wanted to figure out, is
Right.
this really something I can put my finger on? Is this really something that I have some connection to? Or is this just like all, smoke and mirrors and I'm not quite sure?
Yeah.
And
Is it meaningful?
For those students, it became a question of having permission to develop a set of questions that didn't have to have pat answers. And that's a really significant way of thinking about what an artist can do.
In terms of Colgate, and if we think about the way our institution can support culture in a broad sense, is that we, over the years, have offered artists many times the possibility to do things that they haven't done before. We're not just presenting culture, but we're helping to produce it.
Mm-hmm. When we're bringing in artists who are asking us to interface or have exchanges with the community and with the institution and with students and with this broad base, it sets up a whole different set of dialogues, and they're all valuable.
Yeah. To set up this sort of situation with so many rich contributions from the community, from the Machine Project artists, from our own Colgate students and faculty and staff, it's really gratifying.